Episode 3, The Fractured Echoes of Porcelain Souls. Midnight mummers, dare you venture deeper into the abyss of Willow Creek, where the veil between flesh and facade thins to a razor's edge, and every reflection hides a predator's grin. The house breathes now, its walls pulsing with the stolen heartbeats of the damned, waiting to ensnare the unwary in its eternal, twisted game. Aryan's footsteps echoed unnaturally on the staircase, each one a reluctant drumbeat pulling him upward toward the doll room. The air grew thicker with every step, heavy with the scent of decayed roses and something metallic, like blood long dried but never forgotten. His skin crawled as invisible fingers brushed his neck, light as spider silk, yet leaving trails of frost that burned. "Maya," he whispered again, his voice cracking like brittle porcelain underfoot. The giggle from upstairs repeated, a soft, melodic trill that mimicked his wife's laughter perfectly, too perfectly. It slithered into his ears, burrowing deep, stirring memories of happier times, Maya's head thrown back in joy during their honeymoon, her eyes sparkling under the sun. But this was no fond echo, it was a lure, a siren's call laced with malice, designed to drag him into the depths. As he reached the landing, the hallway stretched before him, longer than it should have been. The walls seemed to warp, curving inward like the ribs of a colossal beast inhaling. Shadows pooled in the corners, not mere absences of light but living entities that shifted when he blinked, forming half-seen shapes, tiny hands reaching out, fingers elongated and claw-like. A sudden draft carried whispers, fragmented and overlapping, "Play with us. Aryan, join the fun." The voices were childish, innocent at first, but they twisted mid-sentence into guttural snarls, as if something ancient and ravenous hid behind the facade of youth. His heart pounded erratically, a prisoner in his chest begging for escape. Was this paranoia, or had the house already begun to seep into his mind, planting seeds of madness? Pushing open the doll room door, its hinges screaming like tortured souls, Aryan stepped into a nightmare reborn. The room had changed again, defying logic. The shattered dolls from earlier were whole once more, arranged in a perfect circle on the floor, their tiny chairs toppled as if in the midst of a chaotic tea party. But now, each doll bore a face he recognized, one with his mother's kind eyes, another with his childhood friend's freckled cheeks, and at the center, the Maya doll, its auburn hair splayed like a halo of blood. The eyes, all of them, followed him, not with mechanical illusion but with deliberate, predatory intent. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through his bones, as if the dolls were purring in anticipation. He collapsed to his knees amid the circle, tears blurring his vision. "What do you want from me?" he rasped, his voice raw from screaming into the void. Emotions warred within him, grief for Maya, terror at the unknown, and a creeping guilt that whispered he should have heeded the warnings, should have fled this cursed place before it claimed them. As he reached for the Maya doll, his fingers trembling, a sharp pain lanced through his hand. He yanked it back, staring in horror as a thin crack appeared on his skin, spiderwebbing outward like fractured porcelain. Blood welled up, but it wasn't red, it shimmered with an iridescent sheen, like liquid mercury mixed with shadows. No, this isn't happening," he muttered, denial a fragile shield against the encroaching dread. The room responded with a surge of paranormal fury. The temperature plummeted, his breath crystallizing into fog that formed fleeting images, faces of screaming children, their mouths stretched impossibly wide. The dolls began to move, not jerkily, like puppets on strings, but fluidly, as if animated by stolen life. Their heads turned in unison toward him, painted lips parting to reveal rows of tiny, needle-sharp teeth that glinted in the dim light. One doll, resembling a Victorian girl with ringlets, crawled forward on all fours, its joints popping with sickening cracks. "We've been waiting," it hissed in a voice that was multiple layered over one, child, woman, beast. Aryan scrambled back, his back hitting the wall, but the wall yielded like flesh, warm and pulsing, sucking at his shirt as if trying to absorb him. Mystery shrouded the room like a fog, thickening with every revelation. Who were these entities truly? Not mere ghosts of children, as Mr. Doss had theorized, but something far older, perhaps predating the mansion itself. Flashes of visions assaulted Aryan's mind, unbidden and vivid. Eliza Hawthorne in the 1920s, her face gaunt with sorrow, kneeling before an altar in this very room. She chanted words from the grimoire, her voice trembling as she summoned not her daughter's spirit, but ancient wraiths from forgotten realms, beings that fed on human essence, trapping souls in vessels to prolong their existence. The children. Mere disguises, lures to entice the grieving, the lonely. Eliza had realized too late, her final act one of regret, sealing the entities within the dolls but dooming herself to join them. And now, they hungered for fresh hosts, their appetite insatiable. Aryan's thoughts fractured as the visions intensified. He saw Maya, not as she was, but as she had become, her soul fragmented, scattered among the dolls like shards of a broken mirror. In one flash, she wandered endless corridors within a porcelain prison, her screams echoing unheard. In another, she laughed maniacally, her eyes glowing as she beckoned others to join her. "Is that you?" he whispered, clutching his head. The crack on his hand widened, pain radiating up his arm, as if something inside him pushed outward, seeking release. Creepy tendrils of doubt wormed through his psyche. Had he always been part of this? Was the house rewriting his memories, making him question his own humanity? Suspense built as he forced himself to stand, staggering toward the hidden compartment they'd discovered earlier. The grimoire lay open, its pages flipping of their own accord, revealing new horrors, diagrams of human bodies dissected and reassembled into doll-like forms, runes that promised immortality at the cost of sanity. He grabbed the book, but it burned his palms, the leather writhing like living skin. Whispers escalated into a cacophony, names of the vanished servants from the old newspapers blending with pleas from unseen victims, "Help us, free us, or become us." A shadowy figure materialized in the corner, a translucent boy with hollow cheeks, his body twisted at unnatural angles, bones protruding like splintered wood. "You're just like her," the apparition croaked, pointing a bony finger at Aryan. Eliza thought she could control us too. Horror peaked as the boy lunged, passing through Aryan's body like a gust of Arctic wind. Cold invaded his core, numbing his limbs, and for a moment, he felt another presence inside him, curious, probing, tasting his fears. Visions flooded, Mr. Doss in the garden, his body convulsing as the entity entered, his face cracking like eggshell, reforming into a doll's serene mask. Aryan gasped, expelling the intruder with a guttural scream, but the effort left him weakened, his reflection in a nearby mirror showing eyes that flickered with unnatural light. The dolls encircled him tighter now, their giggles a symphony of insanity, tiny hands grasping at his ankles, pulling him down. Desperation fueled him. He remembered the locket from Eliza's apparition, clutching it in his pocket like a talisman. Opening it, the photo inside pulsed with faint light, the runes glowing. "There has to be a way," he muttered, piecing together fragments from the grimoire and scroll. A reversal ritual, incomplete but salvageable, requiring a blood offering under the willow, combined with the locket's power. But the house fought back. The floorboards buckled, splintering upward like jagged teeth, and from the cracks oozed a viscous black slime that whispered secrets, confessions of murders disguised as accidents, lovers turned to dolls in fits of jealousy, children sacrificed to appease the wraiths. Creeping dread intensified as Aryan fled the room, the dolls pursuing in a shambling horde, their porcelain feet clinking like chimes of doom. Down the hallway, doors slammed open and shut erratically, revealing glimpses of alternate realities, rooms filled with endless mirrors reflecting infinite versions of himself, each more distorted and doll-like than the last. In one, Maya stood, her body half flesh, half porcelain, beckoning with a cracked smile. "Come, darling, it's so peaceful here." He slammed that door, but her voice lingered in his mind, seductive and terrifying. Reaching the foyer, he burst outside into the garden, the night air a brief respite. The weeping willow loomed, its branches swaying without wind, leaves rustling like hushed conversations. Mr. Doss's body lay where it had fallen, but now it stirred, rising jerkily like a marionette. His eyes were glassy orbs, his skin pale and smooth as china. "Aryan." It crooned in a child's voice, head tilting at an impossible angle. "Why run? We can all play together." The possessed investigator advanced, fingers elongating into claws, mouth stretching into a leer that revealed teeth filed to points. Aryan dodged, racing to the willow's roots where the rusted box still lay unearthed. He snatched the dagger, slicing his palm, the cracked one, and let his iridescent blood drip onto the earth. The ground trembled violently, roots erupting like tentacles, wrapping around his legs, dragging him down. Suspense clawed at him, with the ritual work. He chanted the incantation from memory, his voice overlapping with the whispers, the locket burning hot against his chest. A vortex swirled anew, shadows coalescing into a maw that sucked at the air, pulling spectral children toward it. They wailed, forms dissolving into wisps, but one resisted, a larger entity, amorphous and towering, its true form revealed, a writhing mass of eyes and mouths, the architect of the curse. Maya's voice pierced the chaos. Aryan. I'm here, but it's changing me. Hope surged, mingled with terror. He reached into the vortex, feeling her essence brush his fingers, warm, alive, but slipping. The entity countered, lashing out with tendrils that pierced his skin, injecting visions of eternal torment, trapped in a doll's body, aware but immobile, watching centuries pass. Pain exploded, his body convulsing as cracks spread across his arms, his face. Mr. Das, or what was left, grabbed him from behind, whispering, "Join us, forever." In a final, desperate surge, Aryan plunged the dagger into the entity's core, the vortex exploding in a blast of ethereal light. Spirits shrieked, the house groaning in agony. Maya materialized briefly, her form flickering, reaching for him, but the entity pulled her back, its laughter echoing as the rift began to close. Aryan collapsed, the cracks on his body halting but not healing, his reflection in a puddle showing a face half his, half doll. As dawn broke, pale and unforgiving, the garden stilled. But inside the house, a new giggle emerged, not Maya's, but deeper, more sinister. Aryan turned, horror dawning. The entity wasn't banished, it had merely retreated, waiting. And now, something stirred within him, a foreign presence giggling softly in his mind. What had he unleashed? Or worse, who had truly won the game? To be continued.